Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks for Macedonian Embassy to hosting this meeting. For me, it's a special pleasure today because I'm speaking first time after Lithuania have taken responsibilities of European presidency. So yesterday, just for brief half an hour, at the end of the day, I came from Strasbourg. We are in session, Lithuanian embassy together with Croatian embassy. We're having reception in the Justus Lipsius building. And this tie I got just this morning as a present of Lithuanian presidency, but it is as well symbolic because at least in two languages, as far as I know, Italian and Polish, is cravato, this name, or cravat, so it's as well Croatian aspect. So my best wishes for Macedonia as well to join as soon as possible to finishing negotiations with Europe and to be together in the European Union. So that's for my few expressing my pleasures to being here. And on the other hand, I must regret that I'm not an academician or especially discussed or published anything on the topic you invited me to speak. I was a bit surprised, but I'm very pleased because it's very interesting for me. So for you it will be rather relaxed, I believe, after hard, important lectures on those academical topics which are very important, I believe, and very serious investigations and discussions on such important thing as culture and diplomacy, or diplomacy of culture, or cultural diplomacy. I would like just to invite you to reflect on 2 points. In my view, I will tell you nothing new, just to recall or make a recollection and reflection on something everybody probably listened many times. Diplomacy of culture, or cultural diplomacy, how it should be called, it is dialogue between identities. So I would like to take 2 points. First point, that identity is power. Identity is powerful entity or phenomenon, but it's powerful. And another point is that Europe has no identity. Europe has multi-identity. That's 2 points I would like to discuss with you. On the first point, I will give you example. To be precise, I took my notes. That's from some wikis taken, but those are historical things I will read to you. That is written in encyclopedia, very old, in 1907, encyclopedia edited by James Wood, Reverend. And we read, Rans des Waches, if I pronounce precisely, I don't know, in German. It's Rans des Waches, a simple melody played on the horn by the Swiss alpine herdsmen as they drive their cattle to or from the pasture, and which, when played in foreign lands, produce on a Swiss an almost irrepressible yearning for home. That's written in encyclopedia 100 years ago. You can hear this melody. For example, it is famous example, Rans des Waches melodies, English horn and flute solo in the 3rd section of the Ouverture, Giacomo Rossini, opera William Tell. my question is, can the melody, the music, nice, beautiful music, kill the person? Has the music power to kill? Unfortunately, I will speak something about those negative things, because negatives are more visible. Positive things are difficult to explain and to see, but negative things you always see very, very clearly. And that's true, that's reality, because maybe I will omit those readings and tell you in my own words that story, because that's about the Greece name nostalgia. I don't know it's in English how it should be pronounced. Nostalgie, maybe nostalgie in France. I don't know. So you understand nostalgia. What does it mean? Nowadays is almost equal to melancholy or melancholia. But that name, I will not bother you with the centuries. Probably it was 18th century or so. War, physicians, doctors, they put this as a name for the illness. It was illness called Swiss illness of Swiss mercenaries, because when they were drawn from their home landscape of mountains to another place in plain northern Italy, say, or France, which is different for them, and they were mercenaries in the war. If they heard this melody, they fallen sick. And there's documentaries in the history that even there are death cases that was fixed as a stroke on the brain. So identity is great power. It influences through our brains, through our minds, and is so deep-rooted that it's impossible to take away. The only cure, only medicine for those Swiss mercenaries, ill people, ill soldiers, was to tell them that they will get vacations to go home for 6 weeks. And they become again absolutely without illness. That is as well documented thing. And that was called nostalgia. Later, after next century maybe, that was maybe forgotten, not so important, but that was used in different other occasions, in American Civil War and elsewhere. Now it is rather a cultural term of psychology or whatever. And if you have power as a reality, this power is identity. Power is natural power somehow. It is from the nature of human nature, but from biological even nature. So as such, it has no moral value as such. It could be used for good or for bad. That is the point. That is the power, and how the power will be used by humans, that depends on those who dealing with that. Obviously, it could be used for good. If you say, feel this nostalgia, and you sit down and control it and write a poem, for example, or write a music piece like that, Rossini, who else? So this power will be used for creation. That is creative power. On the other hand, if anybody with evil intentions take control of this power and collect this power in one piece, in one huge entity, it will explode. And we know from history, from European recent history, this evil power functions in two manners. One, if you collect in one piece, this is called nationalism, mainly in the European languages. And you know that is explosion. Another, it could be just pollution of evil influences that as well collect many attitudes to and fro and make our life, we don't know even how and why, different and unpleasant. What is look like this picture? There are examples from physics. Nuclear power, we all learned about nuclear power from explosions. And only afterwards came nuclear power station. And still we now are afraid of those nuclear power stations because we know of this power of bomb. And as well of pollution, which is unseen. But if something is polluted on the table by radioactivity, it damages our health. And as a nuclear story, it could be used for good or for bad. So we have this identity as power, and it has two aspects. One aspect is attraction to some center, to your home. As well as if you join this attraction or gravitation of identity to your home, homesickness, other biologically grounded but psychological powers as love between persons. Remember Ulysses, after the Trojan War, he wandered and he had this homesickness for Ithaca, his home, and Penelope as well. That is the fuel of almost all human culture, if you look at the literature, at music, at whatever. On the other hand, if you look carefully of European history and elsewhere, you will see that it is fuel of all European and world wars. So that is great power, that is big power, that is strong power, and that is unavoidable power. Because you can close nuclear power station. We followed European suggestions on closing Lithuanian Ignalina power station, and now wondering about building a new one. But after Fukushima, that is a big discussion now, and in Lithuania, will we build, will not we build, etc., etc. Because emotions always are here, but we can escape. We cannot escape uranium, which is spread all around the world. It is here. But we can restrict from collecting and purifying this uranium which is done now in Iran, as far as we know very well, very deep underground. Everybody wants to have these powers in their hands. We can blame nationalism, and in Europe it's even become, uneasy to speak about national identity because it's so dangerous. But you cannot escape that. National identity will not disappear if you will not speak about it. That is a point. And the only way is to control it. You can control it personally, and maybe for the benefit of your creative capabilities. But you can control it as well on the social or international level. So that is another point I would like to attract your attention, is this multi-identity. I don't know what it is, this multi-identity. But I know what I would like it would be. It should be European instrument of control of national identities. Why? Because Europe is unique. If you look around the world, I really have no possibilities, capacities to compare, to regard, just to mention you how different those supranational identities or supranational organizations are. Take China. They cannot understand each other on this or that part of Chinese state. But they have some kind of cultural multi-level, I would say. That is Chinese scripture that everybody understands. I don't know, that's very peculiar for thousands of years used approach, and that is creating a kind of, is it Chinese identity, Han Empire, or whatever? I don't know. It's so complicated. India, you take that's different religions, so many languages. United States of America. Samuel Huntington, who was famous about these clashes of civilizations, afterwards he written the book about American identity after September 11. And he observed that this attack on America, it was taken as an attack of an American identity, and it strengthened American identity. But I don't know, what is it? America becoming bilingual? We have Spanish America. Many races and many people and nations coming. It's a different thing. What will become of Africa? I don't know. So many languages, so different cultures. But Europe is unique because there is no super identity. If you become more European, you are not becoming more German or more French or more Polish, taking those biggest countries in Europe. They are biggest, they are strongest, say, Spanish or Great Britain. Their culture contribution is greatest in that. But it's not the case. It's simply not the case. We have experience in Lithuania of another empire, of Soviet empire at that time. And that was Soviet identity propagated. And that was coverage for Russian identity, really, because Russian language, Russian history was promoted. I have great respect for Russian culture. My famous writer is Dostoevsky, and I'm really happy I can read it in Russian. But the structure was really like this. Like in different other empires, it always been one nation which overtaking. In Europe, it's not the case. So how to control those national identities? Not to close your eyes, not to deny existence of them, but to control what benefit of all. Maybe that's enough for beginning of discussion.